code to connect with me on LinkedIn. But overall, no matter what, no matter how you look at it, AI will always be a puppy. It will always be something we have to train and engage with. It will always be something that has an original trainer. And that original trainer could either be, oh, someone had mentioned other tools. It would be LeChat, which is by Mistral. And that is a European one. Then you have, or everything happened with DeepSeek. There are models of DeepSeek that you can use on Hugging Face that aren't connected to China or send your data there. Then you have Gemini by Google. You have Claude by Anthropic. Fun fact about Claude and Anthropic, they were people who left OpenAI because they disagreed with where they were going and decided to start up their own company because they were like, yeah, you lot aren't doing the original plan. And then that was it. I was saying nice things about Copilot. And that's when it cut out. It was because I was talking nice about Copilot. Well, use it. Copilot is essentially the baby child of ChatGPT. It's the more contained one. And if your workplace is asking you to use Copilot, I do say use it. I shouldn't say this, but some workplaces aren't that good at their data protection stuff. So when you're prompting it, you could ask it, what is the average salary in this organization? And see if it tells you. See if it tells you that. Because not every organization has put up their data protections properly when they've integrated Copilot. Please pop your questions in the chat. I want to make sure we've got a couple more minutes before we actually have to end and then get kicked out. Oh no, everyone was kicked out the session. I was bad-mouthing ChatGPT. That's what happens. They don't want anyone to know. I wouldn't be surprised if this platform was somewhat, ChatGPT involved in it somewhere. But yeah, share any questions you have. I'm happy to connect. I'm going to be online all day. Ooh, is there a way you can use AI anonymously? That is an interesting question. Not really, because some form of your data will get back into there. If it's an ethical tool, you have the option on all the tools, you should have the option to feed back into the algorithm. The way they frame it is do you want to help improve the model? So say no. They frame it like that. I would do your best bet, find a secure browser, VPN, and don't sign in. But if you don't sign in, you are sharing your data. If it's free, the information, what you're paying with is your own data. You can use invisible chats. The only one that I know doesn't do anything or doesn't store any data completely and it's like in their model is NotebookLM by Google. And that one you can upload to it, but once you delete it, it's gone forever. I love NotebookLM. Someone else said, would you use different platforms for different purposes? Yes. So different platforms have different constraints in terms of their guidelines and their restrictions. So I would use different platforms for different things. You're getting a lot more specialist platforms now. So whatever you're doing, you're probably going to have your top three. Like for copywriting, my top three are Claude, Gemini, and then copy.ai. I do use ChatGPT for copywriting, but not so much because it doesn't restrain the tone of voice as much. It's mimicking me too much. And then if you're looking at coding or learning to code, a lot of people are using Claude Code, which is separate to Claude on the platform. And there are integrated tools within something like VS Code that you can help with your vibe coding. Start looking for the tools that people who are deep within that sector are hyping, not the general buzz, not the vibe coding tools or anything. If someone is like 10 years deep and they're talking about it, or 20 years deep, then that most likely that tool has passed their level of approval, which is what the tools need to do. A good recommendation for VPNs there. GenAI content coming from data versus design of the model itself. It's coming from all of the places. So when you think about generative AI, it will always be biased because it's coming from, first of all, where the data is collected and how it's collected. So it's always going to be missing something. How the model is trained and what the weights are, that's always going to be biased. And then the platform you're engaging with and the language that you're engaging with. So bias will never be removed. And it's being implemented in every single stage of the development of the tool. AI hallucinations will never go away as well, because they are looking to please people, and they can please you by telling you exactly what you need to hear. There are ways to minimize that. Like, you can put in your system code, if you don't know, say you don't know. I highly recommend that for ChatGPT as well, where you can customize it. Tell it, if you don't know something, tell me you don't know something. And then it'll be like, I don't know, and then still give you a fancy thing, but it will cut off the hallucinations. Claude Code was the one for coding that I've used. I've tried the vibe coding platforms like Lovable and so forth, but I am not a coder, so I can't really go into depth on how good they are. But coders I know love Claude Code. Anywho, that is actually my time. Thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn. I'm super excited. There's a bunch of amazing talks. There's other talks about bias as well. There's a really good one later on today by Amazon, and I highly recommend going to that one, because you'd be able to ask them questions, about AWS. If anyone remember, it was out the other day. Don't ask them about that. There's codes. Anyone who was worried about security, there's a talk on information security and AI. Go check that out as well. Thank you so much. So excited for today. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that talk. That was an awesome talk. If there are any other questions, I'm sure you can find Joyann in all of the lounges, or popping in and out. There's specifically an AI lounge if you want to ask specific questions, but there's also the general lounge. And I'll have to admit that was not an AI error. Unfortunately, it was a human error, a co-host error, user error, as we all know. We're all software developers here. We know that. The next session, up-and-coming session, will be with you shortly. If it's not, please feel free to be in the lounge areas and network until it gets ready and an announcement will be made. All right. Thank you all. Bye.